So in today's video, we're going to connect Google Sheets and ChatGPT or GPT-3, and we're going to use a tool called Zapier to make it super easy for anybody to do. More importantly, what we're going to do is we're going to create different prompts that are going to give us different responses to help us in our everyday marketing or automations. And if you stick around till the end, we're going to show you exactly how to do this in a way that you can actually auto-generate a blog that then you can customize and make your own. So stay tuned and build along with us. In order to have this thing to work, you're going to need about 3 different tools. The first tool you're going to need is a Gmail account so you can access your Google Sheets or a Google Workspace account. If you need help on setting that up, I made a video here that you can leverage to use in order to do that. The second tool you're going to need is you're going to need a paid version of Zapier. Zapier is a tool that lets 2 different softwares communicate with each other, and that setup is located right here. And the third tool you're going to need is OpenAI's GPT-3, and you're going to need the paid version of that. Now, you're going to ask, what is GPT-3? Well, basically, ChatGPT runs off of GPT-3, and more importantly, it's actually more powerful if you use GPT-3. What we're going to be doing today is, because we need to activate all those tools, you're also going to need a paid version for that. Now, the pricing for that works a little bit differently. If you want to know how to set up OpenAI's GPT-3, I've also made a video for that you can follow along that gives you how to access all of this. And my assumption is by the time of this video, you're going to have all those things set, and then we can go ahead and build. So the first thing we're going to do though is we're going to open up our Google Sheets, or again, if you have an account, which is super important that you're going to need, I'm going to type in Sheets. It's going to ask you to sign in. I'm already signed in, and as you can see, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create like a simple blank chart, and I'm just going to name it GPT-3 prompt. What I want to do here is I want to make a prompt area so I can ask it questions. All right, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to stylize it a little bit so then it makes it super nice. This is my prompt for my questions, and I'm going to give myself a little bit of room for the answer, and this will be the response. I'm going to rename this down here to say prompt.response. I can keep it organized because I do want to add more tabs later on, because what we're going to do is eventually throughout this video is we're going to try to create a blog completely using different prompts based on different parts. And we're going to use Zapier and OpenAI to kind of make the prompts work in our favor to really help us generate the best blog that we possibly can. The next thing that we're going to do is I am going to go to Zapier. And again, if you don't know how to set up Zapier, I did a video on that, how to do that there. Watch that video first. But again, my assumption is you already have an account and you're ready to go. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and go to a Zap. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little folders just to keep things very organized. GPT-3. Now that I've created that folder inside of Zapier, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit create new Zap. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to type in Google Sheets, right? Because that's where the communication is coming from. I'm going to type in Google Sheets. If you have not connected it, when you go ahead and after you choose this event right here, it's going to ask you to connect your Google Sheets. So it's going to make you sign in. Once you sign in, it's going to automatically connect. When I come in here, I'm going to go ahead and do new spreadsheet row because we want it to activate every time I add a new row. Now there's different ways to do this, but we're going to just make it super simple and less confusing. And this is the best way to do it. And I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. I'm going to choose an account. Yours should have already been connected. As you can see, I have multiple accounts. I'm going to go ahead and connect my account. This is where it would prompt you to sign in and connect your Google account. You're just going to follow those prompts. It's super easy. It's literally connect to Google. Now that this is good, it's going to ask me to pick a spreadsheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here. Now remember, I named it GPT-3. And as you can see, it's already here waiting for me. Usually the way it works is as soon as you create a Google Sheet, what it'll do is it'll put it to the top of the selection. If you don't see it there, hit the refresh key or log in and log out as Zapier. Sometimes it's a little delayed if you run into that issue. And then I'm going to select a worksheet. Remember, this is my prompt and response worksheet. So I'm going to keep it there. And I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. It's listening, so I need to actually put a prompt in there in order for me to start utilizing the tool. And I'm going to type in a question. Give me 3 titles for a blog article on GPT-3. And I'm just going to leave it there. I added a new row, and then you have to click out of it because that's what's going to trigger it to think that a new row has been added. Come over here. I go to test trigger. Give it a second. It's still looking for it. Beautiful. It found that row. As you can see, it says that it's ID2, row 2. It's column A. Okay, perfect. This is exactly what we need. All this is going to be important in a few minutes. Comes a little bit more of the complex part. You're going to type in OpenAI. As you can see, it's still in beta, but it does already have it. And what we're going to do is choose an event called send prompt. When it goes ahead and you hit continue, it's going to ask you to log in. If you need to connect a new account, I'm just going to do it with you because I want to walk you through the process. because this one is a little more confusing, so it's going to take a little bit more to do. What you're going to do is hit connect new account. It's going to load your API key. I'm going to go to OpenAI. By now, you should have had this created. If you're like, well, how do I log in? There's a little bit of a cheat. You just follow beta.openai.com. It will ask you to log in, and it'll take you right in here. It's going to ask you to log in with Google. It's going to ask you to set up a credit card. Again, I'm not going to go through that full setup. You can watch the video that I mentioned before earlier, and it'll walk you through this process. And once you're in here, what you're going to do is you're going to go over to the right-hand side. When you go to the right-hand side, you're going to click on your little icon, and you're going to hit View API Keys. You're going to generate and create a new key. Once you get that new key, you're going to come over here, and you're going to grab it. Once you grab it, you're going to drop it into that area that it asks to connect a new account. Now, for instance, it would be right here, and you hit Yes, Continue. Again, it even tells you it starts with an SK. Once you do that, hit Yes and Continue, and then this account will be automatically connected. Since I already have mine connected, I'm going to continue on. And if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments. I'll get to answering them, but that should fairly get you going into that particular part. What you're going to do is you're going to hit continue. The model, the most advanced model of ChatGPT is going to be Text DaVinci 3. I know that 4 is coming out, but this is very exciting. 3 works incredibly well. When it's got this little asterisk and it's asking you for the prompt, what we're going to do is we're pulling it from the first step. If you go to the first step you see here in new Google Sheets row, you will see that the prompt is right here. This is again why we labeled the way we did. Temperature right here. So as you can see, it's got the little green, which is showing the Google Sheets icon, and it's got the actual that we put in to ask the question. Temperature means the higher the value of the model, the more risk it will take, meaning the less strict it will be. 7's usually kind of the go-to. We're going to leave it there. You can play around with it if you want to have less, like more riskier responses, meaning they're going to be a little bit more dynamic. 7, 8 is kind of what we've been playing with, and we really enjoy the results. So I'm not going to really go far from that. Considering it's a title, you can limit the amount of characters that you want to do. For this situation, we're going to use 256. There is a price involved inside of OpenAI, and if you go to openai.com, you can actually see the pricing right here, and it tells you exactly what it is. We're using DaVinci, the most powerful, and for 1K tokens, which is about 750 words, it costs you 2 cents. You can definitely have a really good time for $20 and not really have to sweat about what it is. Plus, when you're using this back-end version, you're also not waiting on these long wait times or the system having to reset because everybody's using the free version. And by the way, it's already moved, I think, to the paid version, the Pro, which is about $42 a month. So in the meantime, if you want to take advantage of this and get the more access to the more powerful version that you can customize a little bit, this is definitely the way to go. And this way it gives you access to it right away, right? I come over here to my Zap. I'm actually going to put 500 words. Actually, no, let's just go ahead and do 750 characters, right? The stop sequences and all this, we're not going to get to any of that. You're not going to have to worry about it. Not yet. You can play around with it. The whole point of all this AI tool is to keep playing around with different prompts and also different settings in order to get you the best results. And we're going to go ahead and hit continue. We're going to go ahead and test action. It's going to actually give me the prompt response directly in here. I have it right here. It gave me a response back with the 3 titles. I'm not done yet because what I want to do is I want to put back into my Google Sheet. In my third action, remember you got the first action, which is you putting in the prompt. You got the second action, which is going to GPT-3. And the third step is you want it going back to the Google Sheets. So the next thing you're going to do here is you're going to come over here. You're going to type in Google Sheets again. I'm going to hit go. And then from here, I'm going to update a row. I am looking for update a spreadsheet row. I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. I'm going to choose the same account, right, that I hooked up before. I'm going to hit continue again. I'm going to select my drive in here. It's my regular Google Drive. It's going to ask me for the spreadsheet again. It's my prompt and response spreadsheet. I'm going to go to my worksheet that's prompt and response. And then the row, this is very important. The row is custom because I want to grab the same row I inputted in. I'm going to go to my custom area here where it says row and custom. I'm going to come over here, hit row ID number 2. Once I do that, I am not going to enter a prompt, but instead I'm going to do the response part because this is pulling the column from the Google Sheet. And then in here, I'm going to come over here, click on my Google Sheet. Oh, let me do that again. I'm going to go into the response column. I'm going to click on it. I'm going to go to my number 2 step because that's where the response is. I'm going to hit show all options. And I'm going to grab number 2 because that is going to be the response back. I'm going to hit continue. I'm going to hit test action. Before you know it, it should have published it. Boom. And now I have my 3 responses back. But I necessarily don't have to stop there. What I want to do now is, now that I got these 3 responses, let's create it where I create a duplicate tab where now I'm going to kind of give it a little bit of a twist. Now I'm going to force an action that I want the prompt to do. I'm going to rename this. This is going to be same thing with prompt, but this is going to be blog outline prompt response. So now that I have one of these 3, what I'm going to do is, because I duplicated it, it literally duplicated the entire thing. I'm going to delete the prompt and I'm just going to put prompt, give me an outline or following title that is both entertaining, informational. And you can put whatever it is, but the point of what I'm going to try to do here in this whole prompt area here, this is the prompt that I'm going to put in. The only thing I'm going to do is paste my blog title, and then I want the response. Considering that this is probably going to be big, what I'm going to do is for all my lines here, I'm going to do text wrapping on the entire 2 columns. Like that, when it comes out with a big title, it's going to just make it really large. The goal of what I'm trying to do here is get an outline for my blog once I give it this kind of title, but I'm going to force this title in my prompt. So let me show you what I mean. That we created this app. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to title it GPT-3 Google Sheets Zap. All right. I'm going to go from there. I'm going to go ahead and publish this. Turn it on. My Zap is completely published. The next one we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead, duplicate this app because it's going to follow the same rules. The only thing we're going to change is the way it's being prompted and how many characters we're going to get back. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and go to ChatGPT. I'm here and I'm going to do duplicate, which is a really cool feature about Zapier. And then when I do that, I'm going to go ahead and click in here. This is going to be my blog outline. And it's only going to be specific for that. These steps all over again, but now I'm just going to make some slight changes. So I'm going to go to the first step. I'm going to hit continue. I'm going to hit continue again. And you see this spreadsheet and I have the worksheet prompt and response. I want the blog outline now. So I'm going to click the blog outline. I'm going to hit continue. And just like before, it's going to ask for a test. I'm going to go back to my prompt and response when I got my 3 contents right here. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to paste it in my other tab. All right. That is going to be the one I want. Remember, always click away from it in order for it to think it's another row. We're going to give it a few seconds and then we're going to go ahead and test trigger. You're like, why is he doing this? You're going to see in 1 second because I want a very specific outcome. Let's give it a test. It's now got the blog article that I want to write and I want to create an outline for it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit continue because this is already connected to my Open API account. What I want to do is I want a specific response, right? This whole thing I wrote here where it says, give me an outline for the following, right? And the way I wrote it. Now, again, if you want to know all about prompts, we have other videos on our channel that does that. Those videos are going to be located right at the bottom. So make sure to leverage those. And I'm going to obviously, change some wording here. So give me an outline for the following title that is both entertaining and informational. That's what I want the prompt to be. But then I'm going to put a little colon. I'm going to bring in the prompt response that is going to give me that title of the article, with the goal being that it's going to give me the outline every single time. I'm going to come over here, increase the amount of tokens that I'm going to get just to make it a little bit more viable. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. I'm going to go ahead and hit test action, right? And it should give me a pretty good outline here in the example. Great. It gave me a really good example here for the different things that we're going to do. And then I'm going to go ahead and it tells me even the amount of tokens and everything that I use, which is pretty awesome. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to hit continue. And just like before, I want that response to show up in the prompt area. So I'm going to change a few things here. The sheet is okay, but I want the outcome sheet to be the blog outline. And then the row, remember, we want to go to custom. We want to go to that new spreadsheet. And I want the row that I've been filling in. I want the response to be, again, I'm just going to do it again. Number 2, show all options, and go to number 2 all the way at the bottom. It might be different for you, but just look at it that way. And then hit continue. And go ahead and hit test action. Boom, I now have a blog outline that will automatically come back here and do this. If I want to go a step further, I would let's duplicate this one again. And then the last piece that we're going to do today is we're going to rename this. Let's rename this to be blog. Before we go to this last part, remember, it's going to give you an article. Do not just copy and paste this article. There is significant plagiarism in a lot of artificial intelligence. And more importantly, you want to get this for an idea, reword a couple things, put it in your own words, and then put it out into the universe. Always make sure you're also doing a lot of fact checking because remember, this is information that is predated to 2021 or 2020 around there. And therefore, you don't want to get the wrong information out there. If you're using this for search engine optimization or for blogging, understand that the stuff that comes out is going to be plagiarized and you're going to want to go in there and you're going to want to modify quite a bit in order to make it 1, human, and 2, not have plagiarism on it. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and delete this here, delete this here. And the prompt that I would use here, write a blog article using the following outline and make it original. And again, I'm just using the prompt, not the best prompt, but again, it's just for the simple fact of like how to make this all work. Remember, this is our blog content. We have the prompt, we have the blog outline, and we have the blog content. We're going to come back over here and we're going to go back and we're going to publish this app, publish and turn on. Remember, we have our outline, we have our prompt that gave us the idea. And now we're going to write the content, right? So now we're going to go to My Zaps and basically go ahead and hit duplicate. Come in here. This is going to be the blog article. I'm actually going to start in the title now. Blog article. Where's this blog? Just like before, we're going to go to our first step again. We're going to hit continue. We're going to go into our first Google Sheet, but this time we're going to change our worksheet to be our blog content. All right. You're going to hit continue. As before, it's going to ask you to test. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this outline, we're going to copy it, we're going to paste it. And always make sure to click away in order for this to hit or hit enter. We're going to come over here, give it a second. Sometimes it takes a few minutes. And again, this will happen to you. If it takes a few minutes, that's okay. Just hit test and continue. Awesome. This comes in. We're going to continue again. We're going to hit continue. Two things. One, obviously, we're going to change the prompt. And remember, we have to add the first part of it, what we wrote right in here. And again, you can play around with the prompts. The better the prompts, the better outcome you're going to have. Anything when you're using artificial intelligence, it's always about the prompts. We already have the selection of number 2, which is great. But again, I'm just going to delete it and I'm going to hit space. I'm going to go to our prompt that we did there. And this time I want to have a really significant, really good sized article. So I'm actually going to increase this to we'll say 3,000. By all means, you pick how many tokens you want to leverage. I'm just doing that because it makes it super easy. I'm going to go ahead and continue. I'm going to go ahead and test action. All right, and as you can see, it already generated the text. And as before, I'm going to go ahead and continue. I'm going to go ahead and update my spreadsheet row. And I'm going to come over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to validate that everything is here. The worksheet is going to be my blog content. I'm going to come over here and select the row on custom. Remember, you're going to select the row from the sheet, the first step. From here, the choice is going to be the same, which is going to be show all options. I believe they put it all the way down at the bottom. When I do that, I'm going to hit continue. I'm going to go ahead and test action. It might give you more or less, but regardless of the fact, it's going to give you quite a significant sized article in order to do that. And again, I'm not really playing with the prompts. It's got somewhat of a semblance to this. You can add to it, take it away, add more, whatever the case is. But the fact that you created a situation where you created a prompt, you got a response, you created an outline with that response, and then more importantly, you created a full article that you can leverage and use in order to do that. Now, you can make the article longer and shorter, do whatever you want, continue on to it, do it section by section. But the point is, you now have an ability to tap into the highest level of GPT-3 using Zapier and OpenAI, along with a Google Sheet. And this just makes it really easy for you to interact with the tool in any which way you want. And you can also customize this to be tweets, to be Facebook ads, to be whatever you want it to be. But more importantly, now you have the ability of creating different prompts in different parts of the sheets in order to do that. And don't forget to just like and subscribe to our channel so we can keep these videos going. So I'll talk to you on the next one and hope you had a good time building with us.